I am a 3-year survivor now, 48 years old. Because of the family history, they've been keeping a very close eye on me. So it was a routine mammogram, luckily. And I'll never forget that it was the day before my daughter's birthday. And they said, we're gonna need you to come in. I've had many mammograms and most times they say, you're good. I get the letter in the mail. And this time they said, we're gonna need you to come back. My mother and 3 sisters in their 40s all passed of breast cancer. And back in 1980s, early 80s, late 70s, they didn't have the screening we have today, and they didn't have the imaging, and it just was very different. And they chose, and they didn't know that there was an option, but they chose to just wait and see if something happens. So because of my family history, they've kept a close eye on me, and then I did have some blood tests. And years ago, when they only knew about the one mutation, the BRCA mutation, that was negative, which was surprising, because I thought for sure it was going to be positive. Now that they have all these new genes and cancer suppressor genes that they've discovered, now they know that I did have one mutation that does put me at greater risk for breast cancer. So they were on top of it, and so I was very lucky to catch it early. My daughter and son, as we know, breast cancer is not just a female disease, and with the mutation, my son's at risk for pancreatic and stomach cancer as well. So I worry about them, but they see that I'm extremely proactive. I'm a big advocate for testing. I have 3 brothers that they don't want to know. They'd rather not know. And I have 1 brother and a sister that have been tested, and they're positive as well. So now they'll be screened every year. They'll have their pancreas looked at. Because it was only on one side, they recommended, and it was early, they recommended double mastectomy because of the family history. Let's not take a chance. Ironically, after the surgery, there was a more aggressive type of cancer in the breast they thought was clean. So thank God I did it. My mother and her sisters, once it was invasive out of the ducts, it spread quickly. So I was really fortunate. Knowing I had this gene mutation, and I was really worried that it already had started other places. My mother, I was her age. Why should I beat it? And none of her sisters did, and my daughter was the same age I was. So it was like a mirror. I mean, it was just like deja vu. My mother died when I was 15. She was 15. I was very worried about the same thing happening. I still do, but I'm not as, you really learn how to live in the moment, and each day truly is a gift. And she came to my doctor's appointments with me, and I'll never forget being in the waiting room for my recheck. I had to have my tubes, the drains removed, and there was a woman in the waiting room that had a genetic mutation. She was 20, and she had a preventative, and she said, if I'm positive, I'm going to do that. I said, okay. Immediate reconstruction. So it was done right then. I didn't have to have the spacers. I do have the gummy bear ones. Yep. The cohesive gel. I do. And in the next year or 2, actually, I'm going to have them replaced. One of my implants, I got very nervous one day because it looked like I had a large lump. And they did an MRI, and the cohesive gel had basically, there was a big indent in the middle, and it folded, for lack of a better way to explain it. It's folded, so it's a little bit misshapen. My dog stepped on me, and his paw literally folded it. That's what happened. I felt it. I had my tattoos about 6 months after the surgery, and it's amazing the difference that makes when you look in the mirror, because it's a constant reminder of surgery when there's nothing there. My friends, we kind of joke like a Barbie doll, it's completely smooth, and There's nothing. So it's amazing the job that she did. I mean, it's with the 3D tattoos, they call, the shading and it was extremely painful. One side, it was extremely painful on one side and completely numb on the other. I have no idea why. Same surgery, same time. I'm an advocate for, not just with my family, but I've been on the radio several times talking about genetic testing. Because the mutations mean you're at risk for other types of cancers, I feel like I'm doing everything I possibly can. If God forbid one day, it does come back or I have pancreatic, at least I did everything I could. If I put my head in the sand and decided I just don't want to know, what if you could have done something and then it was too late? Since this, I'm very active in American Cancer Society committees and events, and the National Pancreas Foundation as well, and also the Lustgarten Foundation, the walk I just was a part of for pancreatic cancer. Because, like I said, I had one of my mother's sisters who managed to not get breast cancer because of her preventative mastectomy did get the pancreatic. So, I thought that was a fluke, the pancreatic, until I had the genetic testing. So I guess I'm lucky that I have that knowledge now. I think that I had a hard time doing the preventative ovary removal just because I didn't know what to expect. And I knew I should for the estrogen, to get rid of the estrogen. And 3 doctors recommended I do it. So along the same lines, how can I live with myself if 3 said to do it and I didn't, and something happened? So that was hard, but that was only 6 months ago. So I'm starting to feel better from that. It goes in waves, sometimes yes, sometimes no, but I think any woman, depending on what they're going through, if they've got enough sleep, it's the mind-body connection. When you have that emotional connection and someone else thinks that you're beautiful and sexy, you feel beautiful and sexy. Well, when you're single, it's different. I mean, it is, a lot of women who have mastectomies, they've been married for years and their husbands don't care, don't even get reconstruction. I don't care. But when you have to date and you have to tell them, by the way, I have tattoos. It's a very fun group. And a lot of times we talk about the tattoos and dating and, not everyone is married. So there's a lot of things to talk about that's kind of girl talk that isn't going to be the same girl talk you're going to have when you're with your 20-something-year-old friends. It's different. There's different challenges and different things to talk about, and it's just good to have the opinions of someone that's been there. When I first went, I was mainly scared and I really just wanted to see people going about their regular day-to-day lives. I was jealous of people that would say that that's what was their stress, that they got so many phone calls that day, or they had a big proposal they had to do the next day. And I wanted to be that regular day-to-day stress again, I missed it. So there they were that had been in my shoes where I was, and they were the day-to-day stress. So I want to continue to be there for the people that are new again, and be the person that says, yep, I remember feeling that same way. Don't be afraid to seek second and third opinions if you feel that you aren't being educated. I do see a lot of people that don't really know what their diagnosis even is. And there's such a thing as too much information and digging on Google, but there's also, you have to be aware of what your doctor's telling you your treatment plan's going to be and why, and know that you don't have to do what one person says. If you feel like you might want to talk to someone else, and you don't have to rush. And I know everybody wants to get it out. Take a month. You can take a month. It's not going to change your diagnosis. Don't rush into something. I think it's important for other women to see that you can still be happy and sexy and live a full life and be really proud that you battled what you've battled, and you are taking every precaution you can. And for the importance of the genetic testing. You get your pap smear and you get your, everything else that you get, and you also get your genetic screening for mutations. Because you can have a mutation that can happen, not just genetic too. Carcinogens, smoking, as you know, when you smoke, that changes a gene. It mutates a gene. So you don't necessarily have to be born with it. It can happen on its own.